Congratulations, Falu, for your Grammy win. You, of course, were honored with the Grammy Award for your album A Colorful World in the Best Children's Album category. Although this is your second Grammy nomination and first win, this is a big moment for you and your career. How would you like to express your happiness at this point? Like the way you express in your song Happy?
Yes, just the way I expressed in my song Happy. Yes, because I feel completely blessed, honored, ecstatic, and full of joy and life right now. And I feel so grateful, and entire team that worked with me for the album Colorful World is so talented, and I'm so lucky that we all came together and wrote an album remotely in different countries and continents, and then finally, it all came together and we ended up with a nomination and then a win. So but it's a team effort, and I absolutely would always love to give them a shout out for the wonderful work they've all done for this.
Would you please like to share with us the inspiration behind this album, A Colorful World? You actually wanted to explain racial equality to your 9-year-old son, Nishant, in a simplified way. And that's when the idea of this album triggered in your head, especially when your son asked you this question, um, if you're not white, what do you lose in terms of privilege? Is that how it is? Is this when the idea triggered?
Yes. So, I'm a brown South Asian woman in New York City and raising a brown boy in New York schools. And what happens is maybe at 9, 10, they don't really understand the magnitude of how people look at you because of your color. But they start understanding that something is different, right? And they don't have words to put and say, there's no reasoning for this age group, but there's curiosity, there are questions. And before it all went really in a very big way in his head, I wanted to tell him that world is colorful and you have to be very happy with the color you are born in, because there's nothing you can change. This is how you were made. And for the best inspiration for me came to me when I was just looking at a colored crayon box in his room, and it triggered to me, and I told my son Nishad, I said, you see this crayon box, how all these colors are different, but they live so peacefully in this box together, not losing their identity, not losing their emotion, not losing their color, but they coexist. Exactly, this is the way you should look at the world. You can all be of different colors, race, religion, caste, whatever. But your one thing that you all have in common is you are humans. And you have to learn to live peacefully with each other, just like these crayons live in a box. That's how this album started.
So you're, of course, somebody who believes in the power of music. Do you think we can explain our children the complexities about the world, our society, and life through music?
I think music is the biggest powerhouse. I would say the biggest nuclear power we have. Without being destructive, it's only positive. Because music has no boundaries. It can cross over to anybody. As Ustad Amir Khan Saab says, Gana wo hai jo ruh gaye aur ruh sune. Right? Music is such that a soul sings and a soul hears. So I feel like with having this gift that humans have of music, we can cross over, we can touch hearts, we can extend friendships from everywhere in the world and become one race, one human, one world, one voice. We have to just start using it to unite us and not to divide us,
Sure. I think the music gods were really smiling at you when you really made a splash at the Grammys. You were, of course, part of the opening performance and then bagged an award. And not just that, you also got a congratulatory message by PM Modi. That must have made the win special for you.
I think it was the best gift ever after I got the Grammy, but PM Modi, our prime minister, tweeting and acknowledging and, spreading the word about this means so much to me. It means the world to me, because here we have somebody who represents 1.3 billion people globally. And if he is giving me this blessing, I am so honored and so grateful, and I am so humbled to get this congratulatory note from him. I think it was one of the biggest highlights of my life.
Would you please like to talk to us about your journey, your early days? You, of course, grown up in Mumbai and got training in Indian classical music here in India before moving to US. So please tell us more about your journey. What was the biggest turning point in this in your career? You, of course, started in 2000, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah. I was, my mother is a musician. She used to sing in All India Radio, and music was always a part of my upbringing because of her. And at 3 years, she spotted that I was in sur, I could sing in pitch, and she started my training. And Komandi Munshi, the disciple of Siddheshwari Devi, was my first teacher. I continued to study from her son, Uday Mazumdar. I do light music with him. And I think since 6 years old, when I went into this bike accident and I was hospitalized, I had some injury, and to recoup with that, I was screaming so hard in the hospital bed. But my mother told me, don't scream, just sing to cover up all your pain, to not feel the pain. And I started singing in that hospital bed, and I never stopped at 6 years old. So that's when I wanted to become a musician. And I completely surrendered my life to music. And that was my beginning of how my journey as a musician started as a 6-year-old girl. And I never stopped after that.
Then please tell us the idea behind creating this new genre that you call Indie Hindi.
Right. So, Khan Saab, Ustad Sultan Khan, came in my life in my teens. And then Kishori Amonkar also had, blessed me with 4 years of teaching me. Khan Saab always kept telling me, he toured with the Beatles, right? So he knew the American side of how music works in the West. And something about me and him, he always told me that you need to do something global. He used to tell me, and at times I used to be frustrated because I was in America. I was 21 years old. I had no idea how I'm going to make it. I knew nobody in this country. I had zero idea. And Khan Saab, and sometimes I used to cry. Khan Saab, मुझे कोई shows नहीं देता है, मुझे कोई नहीं सुनता है, मेरे पास कोई audience नहीं है, मैं किसी को जानती नहीं हूँ. He used to say, बेटे, अल्लाह के लिए गाओ और रियाज करो. Sing for God and just practice and surrender yourself to your notes. Don't think about anything else. Then he used to say, बेटा, तुम हीरा हो, जरूर चमकोगी. एक दिन चमकोगी, तुम करती रहो, don't give up. And I just listened to his advice like a crazy maniac. And I followed it with all my heart and all my love. And I never gave up. I mean, there were so many times when, ups and downs comes in artist's life. But Khan Saab always told me, keep going and don't look back. Be like a river. Komandi auntie said, be like a river. Tai said, Are, apne liye gao, duniya ko chodo. Right? So all these buzurg, all these teachers, all these amazing legends have always told me to just sing for either the eternal power or sing for your inner self and not worry about what people are going to think about you. So that's what I followed.
Sure. But, you are really this super mommy who writes these beautiful songs about cultural norm, issues of identity, without forgetting your roots. Even your earlier album, Falu's Bazaar, was a playful yet educational, a collection of songs with teachings about South Asian culture. So what has been the greatest learning from the time you started creating music with these things for you?
Well, every time I do an album, every time I embrace my culture, I respect and honor my tradition and my roots, I realize how blessed I am to get this heritage, to inherit this wisdom that is 5,000 years old, and keep everything in that perspective, right? So, do your karam, but do not phal ki chinta mat karo. Don't worry about the fruits. Gita, right? Everything that I have learned in India as a girl, as a young adult, I only have been able to flourish because of those teachings, those on wonderful Vedas and Rig Vedas and Atharva Vedas, and all those teachings that we have inherited as a community, as a society, are so relevant now, even more than before. So I'm a very deep rooted person in my Sanskriti, in my culture. And I always go back to that. It's like, if I don't win, so what? I keep going, right? So, and if I win, I keep going, right? So my entire spirituality, my entire career has happened because of my roots. So deep respect to Indian culture, deep respect to the heritage, deep respect to the wisdom we all have. And I don't think I would have done anything without if I was not Indian. So I'm a proud Indian. Bus goes to Hululu, Hululu Township. Bus goes to Hululu, Hululu Township. In the bus, there were two Indian boys. They were saying Namaste, Namaste, Namaste. They were saying Namaste, Namaste, Namaste.
You, of course, have worked with A.R. Rahman in the past. You also performed with him at the dinner hosted by President Obama in 2009. Did you get a chance to meet Rahman sir after your Grammy win?
Oh, yeah. Every time he comes to New York, we hang out. He's my friend. I mean, I'm very lucky that he calls me a friend, but for me, he's a legend. I have tremendous respect and I look up to him, but he calls me a friend. So I feel very, very lucky. We do hang out. I see him very often. Every time he's in New York, I see him. And, he lives in Chennai. So I have not been to Chennai, but he was with me at the Grammys. Like, he was sitting in a different spot, but we were texting. And it's just a joy. Rahman is somebody who launched my career. When he was nominated for Slumdog, he was looking for a singer in America to sing with him. And I think the first time I got a call from one of his team person, they're like, "Oh, A.R. Rahman wants you to sing with him." I thought it was prank. I'm like, I was just going to put the phone down. I'm like, what? But he's like, no, don't hang up. He wants you to sing with him. And I'm like, okay. And, I showed up. I'm a little bit, I'm fearless. I showed up. I ended up singing with him at the time 100 Gala in front of Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey. And they loved it so much that when Prime Minister back then, Manmohan Singh, came for the first day dinner, they called us back. So then I sang with him there, and, he always mentored me. He always took me under his wings. And, having somebody like Rahman behind you is such a big blessing in itself, that you become a little bit you have courage then to face the world with whoever you may meet. So that's how he spotted, because he wanted a singer to sing with him for the White House and 100-time gala.
You of course live in New York, and New York has this very thriving indie music scene. So please tell us more about the indie music scene in New York, apart from Kirsch Kale. Which are the other musicians that you collaborate with, especially the artists from India?
Oh, from India, I opened for Zakir Hussain. Just recently, I have a Bollywood orchestra, and I do a couple of things. I have a band called Falu. We do indie Hindi music. So we write in English, but all our songs are based on ragas. And folk, Gujarati folk or Marathi folk. Everything is based on Indian music. And Zakirji invited me to open for him for his concert at Wolf Trap with my Bollywood orchestra. So then obviously we pay tribute to Lataji, we pay tribute to Ashaji, we pay tribute to Kishore Kumar. These are singers that are universities by themselves, right? So I have a whole orchestra and we do Bollywood music with, you know, whatever we have here in America. And then I also do my band Karishma,
Yeah.
which is four of us, and all of us are born in India. My husband also sings with me. He's a CEO of a pharma company, but he also was born in Dahod, a little village in Gujarat. But he came here and he grew up in Texas, and he studied Indian music and Western music. And the violinist was born in Calcutta or in Kolkata now, and he also came here when he was 3, and they studied both. And my percussionist is Sandeep Swadia, also a disciple of Ustad Zakir Hussain, and we formed a band in when the early on when I first started in America, and we have toured extensively, and we write our own songs, but we also cover beautiful Bollywood songs that are so timeless.
I know you mentioned Lata Mangeshkar. You of course have sung the song Yara, which is inspired by Lata ji's song from the film Rudali. The song was of course Yara, Silly Silly. So thank you so much for your time and looking forward to lots more.
Thank you so much.